Hello there, Brick Fanatics. The LEGO Group has sent through a few more of these Star Wars Smart Play sets for review, and I really wish that they had sent these through at the same time as those initial two sets, because I feel like I would have given a completely different review if I had had these hands on as well. In that first review, if you haven't seen it already, I let my kids play with these sets in order to get their sense of what they thought of them, because ultimately these sets are not designed for me, a grown adult. These are for kids.
The long when the stormtrooper gets in.
My ultimate takeaway was that at that stage it was very difficult to know how the Smart Play thing is going to play out, because so much of it is dependent on what comes in the future. Will the LEGO Group offer up a bunch of different uses for these smart bricks? Will they end up having long-term support in general? I can now definitely say, as expected, the more of these sets that you buy, the more you get out of them, because they add different types of play experiences, different ways of interacting with the bricks. The two sets that I had for review initially, Luke's X-Wing and Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, were fine in and of themselves, but really the main thing that they could do were pew-pew laser noises and not much else. These new sets added a variety of different ways of playing, but it wasn't necessarily the smart brick that always won the day here, because having played with these sets, I asked my son what of all of this was his absolute favourite new feature, and he said that it was the door to Mos Eisley Cantina.
Didn't like the music, but I do like the Cantina's door.
You like the Cantina's door best? Brilliant, okay.
Yeah.
Just as an update from that previous video, my last thought in it was a question of how long the smart bricks would actually entertain my kids, and the answer ended up being not for very long. They never really went back to them again until these new sets turned up for review. Right, you ready for some more Star Wars LEGO?
Yeah!
Here it comes. Here are your smart bricks.
Thank you.
Here is the Millennium Falcon.
Where's the characters who come with it?
Inside the Millennium Falcon. I'll show you how it comes apart.
It comes apart?
It comes apart. You can open it up and look, there's the inside of the Millennium Falcon. We've got this guy, whose name I think is Steve. And then this guy, whose name is Kevin. Is that right? This guy, whose name is... This is definitely Yoda. There, I recognise him. And then this is R2-D2.
No!
What? Have I got them all wrong?
This is C-3PO, this is Chewbacca, this is Han, this is Luke!
I did have another dad visit the house not long after that video went up, and the sets were just there on the table, and he said, "Oh, are those the new Smart Play sets?" And I said, "Yes." And I said, "I'm not sure that I can recommend them at present." There are issues with these sets, obviously. There's a question of whether or not the lights and the noises are absolutely necessary to play. We'll come back to that. There is the big question of price, but ultimately for me, the main drawback, the main sticking point for these sets is the fact that the Smart Brick's battery life is so abysmally short that you can't actually really play with them for very long anyway. It's not Kevin, it's Luke.
Yeah, Luke Skywalker.
Not Kevin Skywalker.
No, Luke.
Alright. Well, coming in here on the side, I've got...
Cantina.
Yeah, Mos Eisley Cantina, and you've got Greedo,
Daddy.
and you've got some... Yeah?
Can we get R2 from the other one?
Yeah, we can get R2 from the other one. Hold on, I'll get the X-Wing. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not the lights and the noises add much to the play experience, because if the brick doesn't have any battery, you're not even getting that.
What is these?
Oh, well, if you put the characters on there with the smart brick, I think it'll make some lightsaber noises, like Luke's doing his lightsaber training or something.
But what is this supposed to do? What is this supposed to do?
It looks like that one takes you to hyperspace, and then this one comes out. I don't know what that is.
Let's try it out.
And then there's one on the cockpit as well here. You can put one in there, and maybe that'll shoot lasers or something.
Fuel. No, the lasers come out of the top.
Seriously, these things have such a short battery life that you've either got to leave them on the charging pad at all times in a state of perpetual readiness, like they're some kind of emergency helicopter, or you've got to think an hour ahead anytime you want to play with them. Oh, we could play with the smart bricks now. Let's put them onto charge and do something else for a while until they're ready for us.
There.
Yep, that looks good.
Look, the door comes out.
The door comes out.
Look, see?
Yeah, it does. And then you can go down again.
Can I play with the Cantina first?
Yes. But okay, that's the quibbles about the smart brick out of the way. And to be honest, I'm not saying anything there that hasn't been said in that initial video anyway, or indeed in many of the other videos from people who got their hands on these smart bricks over the course of the past month. The big question is, are these Smart Play compatible Lego sets worth it? Is it worth you picking up some of these sets, whether you've got the smart bricks or not? So if we put the smart brick on the dewback, it makes dewback noises.
Dewback, dewback, dewback. I really want to do something.
Okay, go for it. I think that there's a lot of merit to these sets. I know that that's not necessarily what people want to hear, and I'm definitely not saying that you should absolutely go and buy them at retail price. But if you can get a solid discount, or if you can find some other way around it, or if you just feel like you can for some reason justify these higher prices, I do think that there is some fun in these sets that you don't get from anything else in the LEGO catalogue, specifically the Mos Eisley Cantina set. This does something that we have not seen from LEGO Star Wars in a while, and it is brilliant to see it back again.
Hello, droids. Well,
before I talk about any of these sets though, I just did want to touch quickly on this bantha. This was from a make and take at my local supermarket where my son and my wife dutifully went along in order to build some Lego, try out the smart bricks in store, and then come away with this adorable little bantha.
Uh-oh, the Imperials are coming.
Uh-oh. I'm going to get you that bantha that you've got as well.
Bantha?
Where you got the bantha?
I want the bantha. I really want the bantha.
This is an element of the LEGO Group's marketing for the Smart Play sets. You can go along, you can try them out in store, you get some free LEGO bricks for your trouble, and then hopefully you are convinced to buy the bigger set that gets you access to all of the cool electronic stuff. Alright, well, I guess you can take this off of the dewback, and you can put it on there, and then that can be like that. And then yeah, you pop that on there. And then it's a monster that makes noises. Goes for a little walk.
No.
No? At least that's the theory, because when my family got there, it turned out that the LEGO Group had delivered all of the LEGO bricks to the local supermarket store. Fair enough. But the person that was supposed to run the make and take event never showed up. And so unfortunately there was this poor woman who just works at the supermarket normally, who was way out of her depth doing anything with Lego, who was desperately trying to bag up enough of these to be able to give them out to people.
Okay. That's the sound it does come with it. Look! This can move.
This is anecdotal evidence at absolute best, but it does feel indicative of what I've seen from the Smart Play marketing in general. You've got moments where the LEGO Group is like, yes, this is our new big thing, let's give it the biggest possible push. And then you've got moments where the ball is dropped, or things are fumbled, or things don't quite work out that way. It's odd. It almost feels like you've got some people at the LEGO Group who are desperately trying to make fetch happen, and then other people at the LEGO Group who are saying, stop trying to make fetch happen, it's not going to happen. That is just how it feels. That's not actual insight into what's going on within the LEGO Group one way or the other. It's just, it feels strange that one moment they're super enthusiastic about this, and then the next moment they just don't actually do what they need to do, like sending someone to a supermarket to show off the sets.
It doesn't make the Cantina band music, it just makes...
But anyway, that's just an aside. The bantha is an interesting choice here because the three sets that we're going to be looking at in this video are all Tatooine related. We've got the Millennium Falcon, which is on Tatooine for part of the first film. Then we've got the Mos Eisley Cantina, and we've got Luke's Landspeeder. Now, we have seen Luke's Landspeeder in LEGO form so very, very, very many times that it has almost become a meme at this point. As far as Landspeeders go, yeah, this one's all right. There's not really much to write home about one way or the other. It does exactly what you would expect. The most interesting thing about this is that it comes with a little piece of terrain. You've got an additional little bubble of Tatooine architecture. You've also got what I assume is like a charger. These things are all over these Smart Play sets, and I don't entirely understand why, because they don't do anything Smart Play related. I guess it's just the mandate has come down that all of these vehicles need to in some way be able to charge. I guess you just plug this in and charge, or maybe it's a power washer, or maybe it does something else. But either way, there's a load of these, and there's also a load of these green hammers for reasons unknown, but whatever, they're quite fun to have.
Yeah, it's not got the right music.
Okay, we can make this into it by playing music on someone's phone.
Okay, you want me to get out my phone and play the Cantina music?
Yeah.
I'm being slightly facetious there, but actually these little asides, these additional little building things are some of the best things about these Smart Play sets.
That's for filling up. And
Oil.
And do you want to see something cool? That can come out.
Ah, that's interesting. That's very nice.
Because this is something that the LEGO Group has steered away from doing en masse in its LEGO Star Wars sets. These used to be very much the standard. You used to get a ship and then you'd have like a little extra control tower or something on the side. And now it's very much more just focused around the ships. But bringing these back adds in so many new play opportunities. And I definitely get that vibe when my kids are let loose on these sets. They love having these little alcoves, these little nooks, these little additional play areas that add additional little jumping off points for their play.
Look, he's doing some fine.
There's a little bath in the cantina.
No.
Oh, wait, it's not a bath, it's a bar. Not a bath.
You see this more than you might think, even in a set like the Millennium Falcon, where the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter are basically just those things, and then they've got additional little bubbles on the side. The Millennium Falcon comes as one big ship, but then that big ship is full of nifty little details on the inside. So if I pull this down and I pull this down, we've got in here some extra play areas. We've got the training remote for Luke Skywalker. We've got the Dejarik table, the little chessboard. We've got chairs that can turn, which is fun. We've got a little area here for Luke to sit on the on a wobbly thing. It's a wobbly thing. Luke can sit on the wobbly thing and wobble. It's for lightsaber training. You can put the smart brick on there, but you can also just not. You can also just move Luke around on there. There's another thing at the back here which activates the hyperdrive, which is pretty cool. I've never quite figured out what this is, but it makes a gurgling noise when you put the smart brick on that. That's fine. Whatever it is, it's nice to have. Good.
So Greedo here can come over here and sell drinks to people. Does anyone want a drink?
And while yes, all of these little areas are designed to interact with the smart brick, you don't need the smart brick to enjoy them. You don't need the smart brick to wobble Luke around on the wobbly thing. You definitely don't need the smart brick for the Dejarik table. You don't need the smart brick for the bed, where Luke can lie and think to himself and ponder the space where his hand used to be. All around, this is not a Millennium Falcon for display, although it looks perfectly fine on display, but this is a Millennium Falcon for play, and I really enjoyed putting this together and finding how chunky it is, how sturdy it is, and how it just kind of lasts. I feel like this is going to break in some places. I feel like a lot of the top bits are going to come off, but I can imagine my kids having fun with this for quite a while to come.
Okay, let's put everyone inside. Luke can go to sleep.
Why is he going to sleep?
Because
No, he needs to fight the droid.
okay.
The Jedi droid. That's what he's meant to do in this.
There's also little secrets in here that they haven't discovered yet. For example, another one of these green hammers. I don't know why, but it's here.
No, put it in hyperspace.
Oh. Okay, so we've started hyperspace. We've gone into hyperspace. Now, starting lightsabers.
No, put him on.
As interesting as I found this one, though, that wasn't the set that really wowed my son. The one that he was the most excited for was Mos Eisley Cantina, and I absolutely get that because he's got a lot of grey Lego starships. He's got so many of them that we are literally tripping over them in the house sometimes, and that is never a fun experience. We've got your other one here.
Yeah.
So, which is the better Millennium Falcon?
This
That one? Yeah? The big one?
Yeah.
Why is that? What makes it so good?
Because it's bigger and it can fit more people in it.
Okay.
And this can only fit people on it.
I see, okay. But do you know what we don't have from any other set in the LEGO Star Wars catalogue at the moment? We don't have this kind of playset which is a little bit more dollhouse in its design. A building, a location that's full of little rooms and that has little interactive elements that you can play with. This one ended up being a huge hit. It doesn't do anything with the smart brick whatsoever, but you can put Greedo on one side and you can put a different character on the other side. Han Solo doesn't come with this set, he comes with the Millennium Falcon. But then Han can shoot first. And Greedo actually reacts and falls out of the chair, which I just think is such a brilliant little inclusion.
Greedo will pay for trying to shoot him.
Yeah.
Because Han Solo shoots him first.
Yes.
Bam!
That doesn't have anything to do with the smart brick, and this is the perfect way of approaching these smart play sets, in my opinion, because you can just play with them as toys, and then if you want to, you can bring the smart brick in and you can do something with that as well.
Put it here.
Okay.
We need
It's flashy lights. That's cool.
No, we need one in there.
In there?
So the
What goes in
hyperspace
there?
thing.
Oh, the hyperspace one. Okay, that makes sense. Where's the other one?
It's here.
Okay.
Here you go.
All right, you got it. In fact, that's what I saw my son doing with these sets. He would play with them for a little while, and then he would go and get the smart brick and he'd put that on and he'd kind of play with it like that for a bit, and then he'd take it off and he'd do something completely different. There is flexibility there. Whereas I think with the X-Wing and the TIE Fighter, maybe it was because of the novelty of the smart brick, but really if they didn't have those smart bricks, my kids would just kind of sat waiting for them to finish charging rather than just exploring the sets without the smart features.
Losses.
Again, they didn't even figure out all of the things that the smart brick can do with this. They didn't figure out the blender at all. Like, why there's a blender in this set, I don't know, but it's a cute little inclusion. You can kind of wiggle this and it blends and what have you. Fine. I mean, it's not essential. It's cute to have. But again, the fact that there are all of these little different play areas means that there is something that this set delivers that no other LEGO Star Wars set currently on the market can provide.
We need to get out of it.
I think this one's out of battery. Oh, no, it's not.
In a lot of ways, these sets feel like a throwback to the glory days of LEGO Star Wars, by which I mean the time when I was a kid and playing with LEGO Star Wars, where we had these sets that were a little bit more focused around terrain or about building out the world of LEGO Star Wars, where you had sets that were a little bit more sturdy. They had fewer pieces in them, but those pieces were all locked in tight, and the set could really, really last and withstand a bit more of a bashing and a bit more of a play than you normally get.
Let's look out the window. Ooh, Alderaan isn't there. Oh no, what happened? I felt a great disturbance in the force earlier. Maybe that was it. I think the planet blew up. Oh dear.
I do think it's weird that Smart Play has gone so hard for the original trilogy, because outside of my family, I can't imagine that that's going to be the big thing that a lot of kids are after is, ooh, a 50-year-old film.
Luke can get up. So can Chewbacca. And
So
everyone else. Ooh, we're at the Death Star.
Death Star?
Like, it's an odd choice to try and hit the nostalgia button quite that hard with these sets, which are supposed to be the future of LEGO. I cannot fault the fact that my kids had fun with them for about half an hour. Yes, ultimately it was about half an hour from the moment that they first started playing with the sets to the moment that my daughter decided to wander off and play her Switch 2, and my son got stuck into playing a Teletubbies game on the iPad.
I'm done.
He did subsequently come back to the Smart Play sets, but definitely if the LEGO Group's plan here is to compete with other forms of interactive media, they've got some work to do still. Alright, well, there we go. The Millennium Falcon is a win because it's bigger than a microfighter, and the best thing about the Cantina is that it has a door
Who can go up and down.
that can go up and down. Nevertheless, at the risk of upsetting the Smart Play haters, I definitely feel like my kids had a good time with these sets. I feel like we're going to be getting a lot from them in the near future. I don't think that the Smart Play features are absolutely essential to that fun. I feel like if you can tolerate having these sets without the smart bricks, then absolutely go for it. That way there's enough here to really latch onto and have some fun if you're a fan of the original trilogy and you happen to be under 10 years old. That said, these sets have absolutely not convinced me that Smart Play is essential. I think basically the vibe I'm getting from this is that Smart Play is a nice little thing to have on the side rather than the main focus of a Lego set. It is something that you can kind of have as an adjacent little benefit if you want. As I say, my son picking up the brick and playing with it for a second and then putting it down and going off and doing something else. But ultimately, the thing that won him over the most with these sets was a door. What are your thoughts on these Smart Play sets? Let us know in the comments down below, and do all of the rest of the YouTube things. Give this video a thumbs up, hit subscribe and the notification bell. If you are going to be making a Lego.com purchase in the near future, there is an affiliate link in the description or a QR code that is currently on screen. They take you straight to the Lego website and we get a percentage of the sale when you purchase through those links. Doesn't cost you a penny extra, just helps keep the lights on at Brick Fanatics. Speaking of which, you can go to brickfanatics.com for coverage of all things Lego, and you can sign up to our newsletter and never miss anything Lego related ever again. I will see you in the next video. There are definitely more Smart Play reviews coming in the near future.